Okay, so let's talk about Indy's training so we can stay consistent at home. Let's start off by going over his commands so we know how to follow through and what commands to give at what time. So whenever we want Indy to walk next to us on a loose leash, we're going to give him the heel command. Heel means walk next to me on the left-hand side. Whenever he's doing a good job, you can tell him good heel, praise, pet, and you can give him treats. I recommend giving him treats with the left hand. That way he again stays on the left-hand side, because if we reward with the right hand, he might accidentally cut us off and trip us. So we want to say good heel and then reward. If Indy tries to walk too fast, pull ahead, or sniff or bark or anything that's inappropriate and not walking next to us on a loose leash, we're going to say no and then follow through with the correction. So first, we have his prong collar, which this is what the leash is going to be attached to. We attach the leash to the D-ring, and the leash should be nice and relaxed on the collar. There should be no tension in the triangle. So whenever he is walking too fast, for example, you will say no and pop the leash. So again, the leash is attached to the D-ring, no, pop and release the leash, and then remind him to heel. Remind him of the command again so he knows what to do to get it right and to avoid getting another correction. We also have the remote collar. So let's turn this on. We have the on-off button in the back here. We're going to turn the collar on by pushing and holding the button in the back. Sorry, we're going to turn the remote on. To turn the collar on, we have a little red dot right here. That is a magnet, so we're going to touch the matching magnet that's on the remote to that, and you're going to see a green light that's going to turn the collar on. It's going to be on, charged, and ready to go. So let's say my hand is Indy. We are going to push the black S button to follow through with our commands. So let's say we're in a heel and all of a sudden he tries to walk ahead and he's going to start pulling us. No, heel. So it's no, give the correction, and then remind him heel, and then simultaneously you can pop the leash as well, but no, heel. So you want to use this whenever you need to correct Indy, because that's how you're going to follow through with your commands, and he's going to understand to respect when you give him the certain commands that you're wanting him to do. So that is heel. When you want him to be free and explore, you can tell him free. He can go sniff. During your walk, 85 to 90% of the walk should be in the heel position. The other 10 to 15% can be in the free, where he gets to choose where to go and we follow him. So now let's talk about sit. Sit means stay is implied until he's told free. So for example, with door manners, you will tell him sit, open the door, and then either tell him free or heel and go through the threshold of the door together. If you want him to stay in the sit, you want to give a verbal reminder sit. It's almost like telling him stay. So if you tell him sit and then you want to open the door and walk through the door, you'd remind him sit, and then you can tell him free or heel when you want him to get up from the sit stay. If he gets up before you tell him free, again, no, correction, sit, or you can use the collar and give a little tug of the leash. Again, reward and praise when he does a good job with any of these commands. Then we have down stay. Down means lay down and stay until he's told free to get up. So whenever we give the verbal down, he needs to lay down. If not, you can give a little tug of the leash, no, pop down, and no, correction down if he doesn't listen to your verbal command, or if he gets up before you tell him free. Whenever you want him to stay in the down position, you're going to give him the verbal reminder down and walk around and do your distraction. If a distraction walks by him, remember to remind him down so he understands to stay in the position and doesn't get up because of the distraction. We always go back to him to release the command. So he did a good job and it's time for him to get up. We always go back to him, good down, and then tell him free, and you'll see that in the video here in just a second. Then we have place stay. Place is similar to down, but it is a boundary stay on a bed. So we can tell him to go to place, and he knows to stay on that platform with distractions going on. Whenever he does a good job with down or place, we want to reward low. So with the down, we reward in between his paws, or on place, we put the treat on the bed so he knows that the bed produces the reward. We don't free from a distance, so when it's time for him to get up, we go back to him, tell him good down or good place, and then tell him free. If he gets off of place before you say free, no, correction, place. Now this is the command you're mostly going to use in the house, so practice with the leash on first, and then once you've practiced a few times, you can fade the leash out, and he might get a little stuck, so if you tell him no and give him a correction, he just stands there, take the leash and put him back onto the bed, and then remind him place. So then we have come when called. So when he is free, he can explore. I recommend having a long leash on him, 30 to 50 feet. That way he can explore and you have a safety net on him, especially if you're in an area that's not fenced in. Tell him free, he's exploring. Whenever you want him to come back, say Indy come, or just the come command. When he runs to you, praise him, tell him good boy, have him sit when he gets to you, then you can reward. You really want to reward this command every time. The more you reward a command, the stronger the reward history is. What a reward history is it's having a positive association with doing a certain command or behavior. So you want him to have a positive association with coming to you when called, and again with listening to all the other commands. So reward history is really important to build up. So remember to reward when he does a good job with the command. If you call him and he doesn't listen to you, first use the remote collar. The leash is secondary and it's more of a safety net. So if you call him Indy come and he doesn't listen to you, no, correction, call him again. So it's no, come, and then repeat until he comes to you. And still praise and pet when he gets to you, but no treat, because you don't want to reward him since he didn't come to you, but still make it a positive association because the correction happened over there, not with us. And then we have leave it, pretty easy. If you drop something on the floor, tell him leave it. If he still goes for it, you can just say leave it and correct him. You don't have to say no, leave it. You can just say the leave it command as a correction. Practice every once in a while with dog safe foods. That way he gets the understanding to do it in the home. So these next couple of weeks are really important to follow through and stay consistent. He has a solid foundation of the commands, but now it's time to build on them in your environment and what your expectations are with the training. So have fun, stay consistent, and now we're going to show you Indy's commands. Down. Nope. Down. Good boy. Down. Good. Down. Good. Down. Good boy. Look, here's a treat. Right here. You want it? Here. There you go. Good. Down. Free. Good job. Indy, leave it. You're stepping on it. Look. Leave it. Okay, so we're going to go over the other features of the remote collar because it has more than just turning the collar on and using the level 15 to correct. So we have the black S button, which is the level 15, We also have the red S button, which is right here. That is the boost feature. This is for emergencies only. This is to use if you have Indy somewhere and you're practicing off leash and he's headed towards the road and he doesn't come back when you call. It is for emergencies, to snap him out of whatever he's doing and to get him back to you. So emergencies only, only as needed. We have not used this for Indy, so you have it in case you need it, but you probably won't. Level 15 right now works well for Indy, but there is a way to adjust it. If he is not responding to level 15 and he keeps pushing the boundaries and breaking the rules, you can turn the level up. How to do that? We have the dial right here. We're going to push down and hold it to unlock the level. When the 1D is flashing, you can turn the level down. You can turn the level up to whatever desired level you want. So let's say 15 is not working for him. I would try 20. If 15 seems like it's too much for him, you can turn it down to 10. But right now 15 is working well for him. So we lock it back into place. That way we can't accidentally turn it up or down on Indy. The T button over here is vibrate. It's a great way to know that you turn the collar on before you put it on Indy. You can also use this as a warning later on in training, but I wouldn't recommend using it as a warning right now. I would just stick with the stimulation, but in the future, if he's doing pretty good, but he just made a little mistake, you can just tell him no and give a little warning vibrate versus actually giving him a stimulation or a stim correction. On the back here, the on-off button is also a flashlight feature. So if you tap it, instead of pushing and holding it, you will actually turn the flashlight on the collar so you can see Indy at night. Pretty cool feature. When you push and hold the on-off button, you'll actually turn the remote off. And then to turn the collar off, you'll see a red light versus a green light. And then the little M/C button on the back, you do not have to worry about that. That changes it from momentary to continuous. He is great on momentary right now, and you won't have to change it in the future. This is rechargeable. The charging port is on the back here. This is also waterproof, so just make sure that's closed. That way water, dirt, and debris doesn't get in there and mess with the electronics. Same thing for his collar. We have the little charging port there. This should last about 2 days on a charge. Whenever you put the collar on Indy, I recommend having the light out facing. That way when you turn the flashlight on, you can see it. And then putting it here, and then every couple of days, moving it to the other side. Because this fits snug like a watch, you want to make sure you rotate it. That way he doesn't get like a collar sore. And if he goes swimming, this is waterproof. If water gets in there, you want to make sure you take the collar off, dry the area thoroughly, and then put the collar back on. That way he doesn't get a hot spot from the moisture building up and then possibly creating a skin infection. So in the box, we have the charger, which will charge both the remote and the collar at the same time. And then Indy has long hair, but it's pretty thin in the neck area. We do have these longer prongs that can weave through his hair, so in the winter if it gets a little thick, you can change out to the longer prongs, and this is the little tool to do so. This is his original strap that came with the collar. You can use it if you want, but it does get a little difficult. It's more of a belt buckle style, where I like the bungee quick snap. It's easier to put on and take off, and it has a little bit of give, so it's not going to be too tight for him. And then at the bottom we have the instruction manual to go over all the buttons in greater detail. And that is his remote collar in greater detail. The prong collar, to put the prong collar, to put it on and take it off, you're going to hold one prong steady, take the other prong, and you're going to push it through. It's about technique, not strength. You don't want to try and make it like a T, or I'm sorry, an A or anything. You want to keep it parallel, so we'll squeeze these together. So again, hold one, make this prong parallel, and push it through instead of, it's just an easy pop, and then squeeze this together to put the collar back on. Any prong you can take apart and it'll go back together. Okay, so that's his equipment. Again, you want to reward the behaviors you want to keep seeing to increase the rate of those behaviors. You want to use these collars to correct the unwanted behaviors, to decrease the rate of those behaviors. Have fun, stay consistent, and let us know if you have any questions.